Welcome to the Podcast Authority Blueprint, helping you get booked on 10 podcasts over the next 30 days. My name is Angel Tuccy. I run the Need a Guest Facebook community, helping podcasters find guests and guests connect directly with podcasts to get booked. And so, super excited to walk you through this blueprint, how to leverage the podcasting community, how to share your story, get your message out. And really, this is ideal if you are an author, a speaker, a coach, and you're looking just for more stages, more visibility to create more impact. Being a podcast guest is the number one way to attract more visibility, to attract more leads, and to create more sales. And I'm going to walk you through this easy to guide, right, blueprint today that's going to help you to use and leverage the Facebook community so that you can start getting booked on a podcast. I know right now everybody's saying go and get booked on podcasts as if it's so easy. And even though it is, there's a lot of podcasters out there, they are looking for guests every single day. Without a clear strategy on really how to stand out, it can also start to feel like a waste of time. So I want to walk you through so that you're being effective and productive in all of your reach outs, every podcast interview that you do, and then how to leverage those podcast interviews on the back end for more sales. So the three things we're going to cover today: visibility, leads, and sales, right? So we need more. Actually, I guess this is an S, right? Visibility, leads, and sales. Because being a podcast guest, number one, if you want more visibility, how do we get in front of a new audience every single week? How do we get in front of our target avatar? How do we reach more people who are looking to hear our message? There is a podcast for everyone. There is a reach and an audience out there looking for you right now. And so the number one way to reach more, to create and leverage the marketing that you're already doing, what you already have in place. This can be an add-on to what you are already doing. It doesn't have to take a whole lot of extra time. But eventually, if you're like me, you'll get to a place where you're like, I'm only going to be a podcast guest because it's so effective in attracting more leads and finding the ideal clients who want to work with us. So my background is in radio and broadcasting. I was a radio talk show host for 10 years, and I left broadcasting in 2018, and I started traveling as a public speaker, teaching authors, organizations, entrepreneurs, coaches how to do their own PR, how to get booked on radio, television, magazines, podcasts. And in 2020, we started this Facebook community, Need a Guest, because people were always coming to me saying, Angel, I need a guest. And I just had this incredible network. I've always been a community builder. I had this great network of speakers, of authors, of coaches who were looking to get their message out and to reach more of their target avatar. And so we started this community, and it is a free networking group that you can access just by going to needaguest.com. And every week we have brand new hosts who are looking for guests, and you can network directly with those hosts just by responding to their requests for guests. So it's not cold email, it's not spamming. These are podcasters who are coming to us saying, I need a guest. I'm looking for this conversation. I'm looking for these qualifications. And if you're a fit, you can respond directly to them. But I do want to walk you through. So we're going to walk through this blueprint today that I have set up for you, the podcast guest authority blueprint, right? We want to get you booked on a podcast. You know the power of podcast interviews, not just for exposure, but for real business growth. And that's what we teach. We have two programs. We have our Media Firestorm program, which is our high-level coaching program for high-level authors and coaches and speakers. And then we also have our Media Fire Starter program if you're just getting started in getting your message out and wanting to leverage podcasters, grow your email list, create more visibility, and attract more sales. So this blueprint is going to take you through our proven system to help you land 10 podcast interviews really in just the next 30 days. So here's the high-level plan, right? Number one, position you as the expert. Number two, we're going to build out your guest one sheet. Number three, we're going to find the right podcast. Number four, we're going to send some powerful pitches. We're going to respond directly to those podcast hosts. And then we're going to show you how to follow up. And here's what your weekly breakdown is. Over the next 30 days, week one, we are going to complete a media one sheet. What this will do is position you as the expert. It'll also become your cheat sheet for responding to all of these podcast requests. Most podcast hosts ask a lot of the same questions. They want your bio. They want your social media following links. They want a headshot. They want to know your topics. There's a lot of things that is kind of copy and paste and it's on repeat. So having a one sheet ready to go that you can draw from, that you can leverage, and having all of that information will allow you to respond so quickly to all of these podcast requests. Next week, in week two, we're going to use the database or the Facebook group, right, to find 30 shows. We're going to create a podcast tracking sheet so that you can keep track of all the podcast interviews that you are being booked on. To keep track of who do I follow up with, and then you'll have a one sheet where you can leverage this one sheet with all of your podcast links so you can share it for marketing. Week three, we're going to start connecting with all of those. Actually, we're going to book your first 5 shows. We're then going to get in that daily or that weekly habit of coming in and reaching out and connecting with those podcasters. And we're going to continue to book 3 shows. And then in week four, now we've developed the habit and we are going to go down to continue to book 2 shows every week to create consistency and momentum. We want our clients to get booked on 2 podcast interviews a week. That's 50 podcast interviews over 6 months. What would that look like if you were booked as a guest in front of 50 audiences, your target audience, talking to your avatar, having a great call to action and a great lead magnet, and bringing them back into your sales funnel? It would be incredible. Yes, yes. All right. So let's get into it. Number one, let's talk about positioning you as the expert, because this is something that we just see a lot of times. People, you want to be the jack of all trades. I can talk about dog walking, I can talk about tire kicking, I could talk about fence building, and also I do graphic design. Right? The power of one really comes into play here. If you can focus on one core topic that you are the expert at, that you want to be known for, and you just knock that out of the park every single week, you're on 2 podcasts, you're speaking about this one core topic to one core avatar, one marketing platform for 1 year. That's how you scale a business, right? The focus of one. So, number one, you really want to position yourself as the expert. And what do you want to be known for? What topic do you want to be invited to speak on again and again? I'll tell you, if you have 2 interviews a week on your calendar, this is amazing for the mental health of your business, right? Because you have 2 things scheduled, 2 appointments every single week where you get to talk about the thing that you're most excited about, you're most passionate about sharing. This is probably the thing that people want to pick your brain about and that you are sharing all the time for free anyways. Go ahead and leverage it instead of one to one, leverage one to many, right? Where we are speaking to audiences. And you are actually positioning yourself to be a marketing partner with all of these podcast hosts. These are podcasters who are speaking to your target audience. They probably have an email list. They probably have a social media following. They probably have a client base. And they happen to also have this podcast audience. So think about how exciting it is to build that relationship. If you only built the relationship with the podcasters, that's incredibly valuable. But if you know your business math, right, and you know in order to hit your revenue goals, how many clients you need to serve in order to hit your revenue goals, you know how many sales calls or how many people need to end up on a webinar with you in order to hit your sales goals, which means you have to get in front of X number of people, right? And so it's always a math problem. And so the nice thing, if you need to be in front of 200 people a week in order to hit your math goals, your revenue goals, how are you going to do that? Being a podcast guest. And I never ask my hosts, like, what's their following? What is their numbers of downloads? I know a lot of people really only want to be on the top shows. But until you've played the clubs, right? Until you have a following that kind of matches what their following is, or a topic that is amazing, right? And a story that's absolutely amazing that they've heard of you, you want to get out there and it doesn't matter the volume in the podcasts. The volume is in the number of podcasts and the number of shows. You don't want to just be a flash in the pan where you get one great big show. You're better off getting on 50 shows week after week after week after week after week than one show. Right? It's the volume, it's the consistency. It's you're everywhere. Look, you're on another show, you're on another show, you're on another show, and you have all this staying power of you being seen everywhere and not just a flash in the pan. Also, to position yourself as the expert, right? You want to share your message with everyone, but you want to speak to your someone. And how do we draw out your someone, right? Your avatar out of an audience of, 100, 1,000, 100,000? It's with your lead magnet, right? Your call to action. You want to have one clear call to action that gets your audience to take action, right? Takes their audience to take action, to connect with you, to follow you, to get into your funnel, get onto your email list. So one very clean call to action needs to be inside of your. Am I recording? Yes. All of a sudden, for some reason, I was worried I wasn't recording. Okay, so we are recording, and I have also updated this blueprint not only to put your expert topic that you speak on, but also a place for you to put your URL, your domain name that you're going to lead people to out of a podcast interview. So for me, it's needaguest.com. That gets you into my Facebook community where we ask for your email address, and you end up in my funnel. So whatever your landing page is, your opt-in page, your squeeze page, you want to have a really clean and easy to use URL, right? That you are sharing in every podcast interview. Every podcast interview needs to be evergreen, so it's a little bit generic. Somebody can listen to it next week, next month, next year. So expert topic, call to action URL, and then what are you giving away? What do I get when I go here, right? So this is as you're positioning yourself as your expert. You have your one core topic, call to action URL. Go to needaguest.com and you can start getting booked on podcasts today, right? You have to always have the result, right? People run from a challenge and they run towards results. So it's either solve this problem or get this result. For me, get booked on podcasts. There's a result. I could also be stop being invisible, right? Fix your lead magnet problem, right? Or your lead generation problem, right? So you always either, solving a problem, right? Fixing a challenge or creating a result. So your lead magnet giveaway. And this needs to be valuable, people, right? It's got to be something people really want. Your audience, your target audience, your avatar. And the more valuable you can make this lead magnet, the better clients and quality of clients you'll have on prospects and leads you'll have on the back end. So make this as valuable as you can. Make it a really juicy giveaway, something people would be willing to climb over seats. Right? You've been at a sporting event where they're like chugging a t-shirt out of a cannon, and here we are, right? They're climbing over seats to get a t-shirt that they'll never wear that doesn't even fit them. Will people hear your giveaway? Will they want to climb over seats? Are they clamoring to get it? So make this super valuable. That's step one, right? Step one. And we still got, right? But this is worthwhile. Don't be lazy with this step. Don't think that you can be jack of all trades and be everything to everyone. Don't think that you can have a really messy URL that's hard to spell and a weird URL and that people will take action to find it. And don't think that this can be really generic, right? I'm giving away an ebook when people aren't reading ebooks, right? Give them something tangible, something that's going to actually get a result for them. Okay, we're still in week one, so we need all of that positioning so that we can build out our guest one sheet. Your guest one sheet should include, right? It's like a resume, right? A cover letter for your podcast interviews. Your name, your title, Angel Tuccy, media expert, right? A 2 to 3 line bio, not your life story, right? Just 2 to 3 lines. What do you bring to the table? 15-time best-selling author and creator of the Need a Guest Facebook community with over 40,000 people at the time of this production, right? You can also have your suggested interview topics, sample interview questions, a headshot, your contact information. Don't send it to an email address you don't check. Links to your socials, show off your website, right? Make it really easy for your podcasters to say yes to you, right? Making sure that it is all on one page and all on one sheet so that it's like a one sheet graphic. I also like to create just a straight up white paper Google Doc with all of this information on it that I can copy and paste into an application. So if I get to a podcaster and they're like, fill out this job form, fill out this application, I have all this information just on a plain text Google Doc that I can copy and paste and just grab it and put it into those podcast applications. It makes it quick and easy for me, right? If they ask for a one sheet, I send it to them, but most of the time, very rarely do they actually ask me for the one sheet. So this is just a bonus, right? When I'm replying and responding and kind of showcasing off in a social media post. But really, you want this also in just a plain text Google Doc that you can copy and paste so you can start applying to these podcast interviews. And then if they ask questions, I always add those answers into my podcast application sheet. So, here I have my podcast application document, which has here's my stage introduction. It also has my 100-word intro. Here's my podcast pitch. And this is just for me to use to copy and paste into. And it also has all of my social media links, right? All in one place. So that makes it really easy for me to apply to these podcasts. So that's week one, right? As you leverage on down and scroll on down to finding the right podcast, we have them all in one place, right? Needaguest.com takes you right into a Facebook community where you can start to connect directly with podcasters who are looking for guests for their shows. Create a Google Doc or a Google Sheet where you can show your names, and let me see if I can find my sample podcast booking sheet right here, right? So I've got all of their names, if I've applied to it, accepted, booked, and then I can always put the recording links all on one place so that I have it all together and I can keep track of all the ones I need to follow up with. Then I've got all in one place all of the podcast interviews that I've done. So I've got that record right there in place in one sheet. So you're going to, right, like kind of do your homework and set the foundation and the fundamentals in place so that you can start getting booked on podcasts and show up as an expert in your space. So you've got your tracking sheet. Go scroll through the Facebook community. Who do you know that hosts a podcast that you might be a great fit for? Reach out to them. Say, hey, I'm looking to get booked on 10 podcasts in the next 30 days. Would I be a great fit for your show? Do you have room for me? Do you have room for another guest who speaks on X topic? Right? Reach out to the people you know. You can do some straight up Google searches, but always start with who you know. Know who you know and reach out to them, right? Then you can also look at Apple Podcast, Spotify, but you're gonna be, it's a cold outreach, not my favorite, but you can at least look and see, are there podcasts in your space? And you can, often directly connect with the podcasters there. There's also a podcast directory on Listen Notes. Again, it's cold outreach, not my favorite, but there are resources. Facebook groups like Need a Guest, absolute favorite because these hosts are looking for guests. It's one of the things with our clients. We curate a database. We have all of these podcasters in a one-stop shop database where they can just reach out and respond to these podcast communities. Let me see if I can find Media Firestarter. Let's see Firestarter so you guys can see this. Da, da, da. Right? So we have an app, right, where you can just start responding directly to and getting booked on a podcast. But that's for our clients in our Media Firestarter, and we also have a huge database for our Media Firestorm clients. But create a list of all the shows that you want to be on, all of their contacts, emails, and keep track of the status. So, week one, positioning you as the expert, setting up your media one sheet. Week two, we're going to scroll through and we're going to find 30 shows that we would like to be a guest on, right? Scroll through the Facebook group, ask the people you know, use the law of proximity, right? Who's closest to you, and you're going to set up your tracker sheet. Next, we're going to start reaching out, right? You need a hook, right? Though it's fishing in a barrel, fishermen will tell you, I need a good hook, right? So we do give you, here's a great email formula, right? Complimenting the host or the show. So you always want to personalize this. You don't want a generic straight up copy and paste. you might have your standard formula, but you always want to personalize it and compliment them on their show. Go listen to their show. Right? What a concept. Actually connect with them. Find something you like in common. Don't be lazy, right? This is valuable. This is a valuable use of your time. Once you learn how to leverage, strategize being a podcast guest, if you were just to take 30 minutes a day to go and research and find shows and get booked on a show, think about what that's going to do. I mean, there's so many things that we're doing, keeping us occupied and all over the place. This is one of the most valuable uses of your time. And if you're too busy to do this, I would ask you, what are you doing that's giving you this kind of result? And maybe for the next 30 days, just try this. Find 30 minutes that you can go and connect and put a podcast interview on your calendar. Game changer. Brief intro of who you are and why you are relevant, right? What do you bring to the table? What accolades, what accomplishment, what success do you have? Because a lot of times we think we're interesting, but we got to show up, right? We got to lead with that. Suggested interview topics. You could I don't actually, yeah, I like a link to my one sheet. So not, I don't attach it in an email, but I link it to my one sheet. So they have a link to my actual one sheet. So I do have a one sheet in here. I don't know if I can find it. Um, Let me see if I can find it. Angel's one sheet. Hold on. Okay, so here is my podcast one sheet. Name, podcast guest specialist, right? Here's my bio. Here's how they can introduce me. So this is something the anchor, the podcast host can actually read verbatim to introduce me, sample interview questions, and then how to reach out to me. So I have it all in one place. So you can have a link. I have it in a Google Drive and you can link it to them and then let's have me on as a guest. So we do give you a template here that you can follow. And then every 5 to 10 days, you'll just want to reach out because you're tracking that on your tracking sheet, just bubbling this up to the top in case it slipped through. There are hundreds of podcast interviews. And remember, they are looking for guests. So if you are the right guest, the right topic, be friendly, reach out and stay connected with them. This is really, if you've got a media one sheet, you've got a great community, you've got a great topic, great call to action, you're positioning yourself as the expert, you've got a great tracking sheet, you have everything that you need to just run and get started. So if you need more help, we absolutely have the Facebook group, needaguest.com. We also have the Media Fire Starter program. If you want to get booked on 100 podcasts in this next year, you can get started by going to masterthepodcaststage.com, masterthepodcaststage.com. So that gets you enrolled in our Media Fire Starter program if you want the access to the database. We also do networking. We workshop your podcast titles, all sorts of fun stuff happening there. If you want to learn more about Media Firestorm, which is our high level coaching program, there's a link to the doc right here. And then, of course, the Facebook community. So there you go. Let's amplify your reach. Let's get you booked on 10 podcasts in the next 30 days. And when you do, reach out and let me know the shows that you got booked on, how it's working for you, how you're leveraging it. And let's just go rock and roll. Let's make a difference. You're already doing so many amazing things in the world. We just need more volume most of the time. And if we can just get you in front of more people, your business would grow. Well, I can't think of any other better way than being a podcast guest. So I'm Angel Tuccy, media matchmaker, founder of the Need a Guest group. Follow us. Let's get you plugged in and let's go. Cheers.